Um, Here's what I want you to do. We are going to just quickly introduce yourself, and then we have a poll question for you and for the group. So go ahead, introduce yourselves. How long you kind of been connected to the church, and what do you do?
I've been going to YoungNC or North Central my whole life. I've been volunteering on YoungNC for like a year and a half now. My name's Ethan Luquette. Forgot about that part. But yeah.
Hi, my name is Jared Holbert. Me and my wife Phoebe have been going to North Central for about 3.5 years now, and that's around the time we've been also being leaders at YoungNC.
Hi, I'm Avery Bylick, and I've been coming to the church like 7 years, and I think I've been in YoungNC about 6 years.
Hi, I'm Francesca Valletta. I've been going to North Central since I was born, and and I have been going to the youth group since I started in middle school, and right now I'm a freshman. So.
Nice. Okay, so here's our poll question. We're going to tell a lot about you. People are going to judge you, okay? It's okay. You're okay to ready to be judged, okay? If you had the choice, would you choose Chipotle or Moe's? I told you you're going to get judged, and it's okay, you know? Rightly so, whichever one you choose. So, Chess, you want to tell us?
All right. I really like Chipotle.
All right, so one vote for Chipotle?
Yeah, I vote Chipotle because it's just so good, and I don't like Moe's that much.
All right, nice. Okay. Not only have you chosen Chipotle, but you've said Moe's is no good. Okay, all right. I like it. Avery, what do you got?
Well, I do like both of them, but Chipotle.
All right, 2 for Chipotle. Jared?
It's going to be 3 for Chipotle.
Okay.
And I think the people that know me really well know that I love Chipotle
Yeah.
a lot. So.
But would you, look, for you specifically, would you choose Taco Bell or Chipotle?
Oh, wow.
You were the only one I asked if you're comfortable with a follow-up question, and now you're getting one. So
I got to answer by what I think I've spent the most money on,
yeah.
and it's definitely Taco Bell.
Yeah. Like if you want to have a conversation about all things Taco Bell, Jared will. He's an aficionado. Yeah.
I got all the rewards you can think of on that app. So.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
Yeah, I got to go with Moe's, actually. I got to change it up a little bit. Yeah,
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're officially have a nice day. Thank you for.
Some Moe's fans.
We can have some great churches we can recommend you to. Yeah. Out of curiosity, where's the Chipotle people in the room? Where's the Moe's people in the room? Where's the you would never go to either one of those places in the people in the room? Okay. All right. So, I guess I'll start with you because, start with the least enlightened first, I'm sorry, yeah. I'm a Chipotle guy. I love Chipotle, yeah. Just kidding. Also, Ethan, we were talking about youth group, and I was like, yeah, I served in youth group when you were in youth group. He goes, no. He's like, I was in, elementary school. I was like, oh, thanks, Ethan. Thanks for that. So the question we're asking what God get. The first question, how's God working in your life, in your personal life?
Yeah, no, so God's really been pushing me out of my comfort zone recently, hence kind of why I'm up here. I got asked to, and normally I would say, no, I don't want to be in front of people, on a stage. But God's really been putting on my heart to just push my faith out forwardly, publicly recently. And I actually go to this small group called Salt Company downtown Syracuse. And we're taking a Gospel 101 class, and that's each week we got a survey, 2 people, or 3 people actually, that we don't know. It's random people. And that's really scary for me to just openly talk to someone, even coworkers, and try to explain what the gospel is. But this class is really helping me, I guess, just be public with my faith and how to talk to people about that. But yeah.
Nice. Season. You'll never be up here again because of people like me. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah. We got Jared. How's God working in your life?
I definitely feel like as of recently, with a lot of certain conversations and interactions I've had with people, that God is really trying to lead me to help guide people to Christ. And I can't think of a better way to do that than with this next generation of YoungNC. And yeah, that's what I really think God's doing in my life.
Nice.
Well, as a high school senior, I really feel as though that God is working in me to really build that foundation and strengthen my relationship with Him, build an even bigger faith. I think my next season of life is going to be full of distractions, so I feel that it's really crucial to build on those things in order to stay focused on what really matters to me.
Cool.
Yeah, so for me, I get really distracted a lot, so I tend to forget that God is present in my life sometimes, and I'm a freshman, and I started in high school, and it's just been really hard to remember that God is there because I've been doing so much schoolwork, and I've been in the musical, and I'm in sports, and so when I'm going through like a hard time, I kind of remember that God loves me, I'm not alone, and it's just like He's really been reminding me because I sometimes really forget very often. So, yeah.
Love it. You and everyone else in this room, Chess. I think so. Yeah. So, yeah, it's great. So, how is we'll just go back the other way. How is YoungNC kind of contributing to your faith and contributing to your growth and what God's doing in your life?
So when I first started at YoungNC, I feel like I didn't really have like a group yet, if you know what I mean, like a group of friends. So I felt like a little bit alone. I was hanging out with my sister and like sitting with her because I didn't know who to sit with, and I didn't know like what friends I was gonna make and like the relationships I was gonna have, and so I was a little bit scared. But I started making friends and like building really good relationships with people that I know I'm gonna be connected to for probably forever, and it's just been so good because being at YoungNC again reminds me of God's presence, and it reminds me that He's there, and it reminds me that there are people who will support me, and there are people who will like make it, like when I'm having a hard time, make it better and comfort me, and so that's how I feel about that.
Nice. Thanks, Jess. What about you, Avery?
I would say that the messages in the sermons on Wednesday nights have been really impactful for me. I think Julio, you do a great job with making the messages very relatable and relevant to what us teenagers need to be hearing at this time. It's really been impactful, and it's helped guide a ton of people in youth groups. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it takes a special. It's a special talent to make anything relevant to anybody, but specifically Julio's gift to take complex or even just basic doctrinal and theological truths and communicate them to students on a Wednesday night. So and doing that all while having a full-time job and then also having 3 young kids in the house and the time and the investment he takes. So we're appreciative of that, Julio, for sure. Yeah, thanks, Avery, for sharing that.
To answer this question, I kind of have to go off the answer of the first question as well. When I really feel like God's putting on my heart to help, guide people to Christ and doing that with YoungNC, I'm very aware that the things and maybe the Christ-centered advice that I try to give to them, I'm aware that it won't resonate with them right away in that moment, or maybe spark something in their hearts or minds right at that moment. But for me, my hope, and I'm sure with all the other leaders as well, is just I'm really just trying to plant a seed. I'm really trying to have them, when they do go through those hardships and hard times in their lives, I really hope that they can look back and say, hey, what did Julio say last Wednesday? What did Ethan say at retreat? There's so many things that we can say at that time, but planting that seed and how they go off of that advice in the future with what they deal with, that's something I really hope for. And with YoungNC, I know we're up here talking about what it does for us, but as a leader, I can't really talk about enough about how much the kids really mean to me and the other leaders as well. One of the biggest things that these kids really, personally for me, is accountability. And accountability is a great thing to have, especially, within Christianity. And I can give and hope to give all these kids the best Christ-centered advice that I can give, but if I'm out there not even following what I'm saying, then I'm a hypocrite. No one wants to be a hypocrite. So that accountability for me is just a huge thing.
Yeah, love it. Yep. You sure?
Yeah, I was just going to say YoungNC is such a great opportunity to grow with this church and have an opportunity to volunteer, the time and talent to wherever, the group needs. But even just the community and the leaders that we already have is such a great environment to be around in a community, and people we can lean on, like Jared. I can call him up anytime I need and, have that, group to support me. And of course, we're there to support the students as well. And like Jared was saying, they impact us just as much as we impact them. But yeah, it's just a really great group.
Nice. I love it. You guys, lots of truth, lots of great principles in there. And I think it kind of all aligns with our principle here at North Central, is that serving. You guys are serving students, but it's two things. You're helping them in their discipleship journey, but it is significantly impacting your discipleship journey as you learn to follow Jesus. And Jared, one of the very things that Pastor Dan taught me way back in 2003 when I interned with him when he was a youth pastor and I was to get into youth ministry degree. There's a little principle. He said CPR, just you cultivate, plant, and reap. Cultivate, plant, and reap. And in student ministry, you're doing one of those things. You don't get to do all of them. You don't say, I'm going to cultivate this, I'm going to plant the gospel, then I'm going to reap it, I'm going to and disciple them forever. But in the broader context of our church family and the faith journey that our students are on and our leaders are on, there's a cultivation of the relationship and saying, we love you, we care about you. You plant the seed of the gospel, and you tell them how God loves them, and he's there for them. And then at some point, you may not be able to say, okay, we're going to reap the fruits of that, where God is transforming their hearts and seeing all this fruit. But at some point in the broader context of our church family, in their life journey, that fruit emerges, and we can see the fruit of God working in their life. And back in the day, we used to get taught 1 leader to 5 students. Nowadays, if you talk to a youth person, it's 5 leaders to 1 student. 5 adult influences on 1 student is how you're going to make an impact. And so we are grateful for your impact as leaders. We're grateful for your engagement as students. And thanks for being super brave and coming up here. And look, don't hold it against Ethan, okay? Don't, all right? Or maybe if you like Moe's, slip him a 20 and he can go to Moe's for like his entire life. All right? Mo Monday forever. But thanks for being here. You want to give them a hand as they go off? We appreciate it.
You know what really blows my mind is that we have teenagers who midweek on a Wednesday night go, I want to go to church. Isn't that wild? Like, there's so many things you could be doing. So many places you could be going, right? Sports, all the programs and all the things that there are available to them, but they're like, I'll come to church. I want to live in community with other teenagers. Also, teach me about Jesus. Like, and then there's young adults like Jared and Ethan who are like, I'll do it. Like, I'll step up. I'll love you. I'll help guide that blows my mind. It is so cool. And one of the things that, as our youth group really flourishes, as it really grows, one of the things that has become obvious is that these guys really need a space. They need a space of their own. Right now they're using what we call the multi-space, which is exactly that. It's a multi-purpose room. We're thankful for it. It's done a lot of good for North Central. We have parties in there. We do training in there. We do all kinds of stuff in there. But it's not conducive to a youth group, a group of young adults. And that has just become really obvious. I remember back in 2012, so like 13 years ago, it became obvious that this room that we're in right now was like wildly out of date. We could do so much more with it if we remove the pews, we put chairs in. So now that, Encore can have lunches in here, we set up tables, we have all kinds of functions. The community, even when we remodeled this place, I remember people walking in and being like, this is wild. Like, can I have my event here or my concert here or like a daddy-daughter dance. I mean, it was like so many cool things. The schools were using the space. Then, fast forward to like 2016, 2017, and we were like, it's almost the same problem as with the students. Our kids, younger elementary age kids, were up in the multi-space, and we just said, and also down in that lower level. And we just said, man, we could do so much better. It's so prohibitive that they're in that space. And we started to make plans, right? We started to make plans that said we could do better. There's something more that we believe that God has for our church family, specifically for our kids. So we started to make plans for Kids Central. God has done so much through that building. It is amazing. The young families that have decided to become a part of our church because that's available. It's obvious that we're prioritizing kids. We've got our pre-K in there that is doing so well. It's full every year. It's a bridge into the community. So that building has really served its purpose. A couple years ago, we said we should, now that the kids are in there, we don't need this little nursery out here, let's blow these walls out. Let's make a space for people to kind of hang some couches, a little bit of a lounge area. So it's been really cool to help plan some of these projects. And we feel like the next phase, really probably the last space left in our building that's gone untouched, is that lower level basement area. And it just happens to coincide, hey, that's the last space, but it also is the perfect space for our students. There's so much we could do down there. We could blow those walls out, open the space up. As I was talking with our leadership team there, Pastor Amy, Julio, Chrissy, just asking them, like, what are some words that sort of describe what you guys really need? Listen to the words that they came up with, and then picture the multi-space, that sort of blank room up there. Here's what they said. They said, we want it to be welcoming, modern, youthful, vibrant, comfortable, functional, and accessible. It dawned on me pretty quick, they're in the wrong space, right? If that's what they really need, they can't possibly achieve that in that area. The multi-space is kind of none of those. So then I asked, like, what do you guys need in terms of like how you'll program it? What are you going to do in this space? Here's what they plan on doing. They plan on using having a teaching area, a lounge area, like a gaming area, small group area, kind of modular, where we can maybe move some walls around, a storage area. And also, if you've been down there, you know that kitchen is, ooh, I don't need to say any more. If you've seen it, you know. If you know, you know. So what I wanted to do is just really quickly provide us with a couple of, do you know how when you're going to remodel a space in your home, you kind of jump on Pinterest or whatever, and you're like, oh, what's inspiring, right? A couple inspo pics. So I just want to pop a couple of pictures up here. These are not exactly what it's going to look like, but it's just something to kind of give us a little bit of vision, a little bit of excitement around the space in terms of what it could be. All right? Okay, opened up. I don't see a garage door going down there, but that would be cool. Bright, vibrant, open, functional. Modular is a word that came up a lot because they're going to use it in different ways. So I say all that to say this. It's a huge need. I'm super excited about it because our youth group, as I said, is growing, it's flourishing. We've got an amazing, amazing team in place. Who cares about a space if you don't have great leaders, right? Imagine Kids Central without the leaders that have been in there. It's just a building, right? It's just sheetrock. It's just paint. We could do something really, really special. So that's kind of the why behind it. It's a huge need. That's sort of the what. Right? What it could look like, what we're kind of envisioning for the space. I think we can potentially even kick it off possibly this summer. I'd love to see it even wrapped up by the end of the year. It's a real possibility. So PD is going to come up and start to explain kind of the how, right? How are we going to get there? We feel like Kingdom Builders is the perfect vehicle to help us accomplish this huge, huge goal. I'm just pumped. I'm excited about what it could be, what it could mean for our church family, what it could mean for our students. I just think it's huge. So thanks for listening. Thanks, yeah.
All right. Good morning. It's my turn. We have a unique opportunity to respond to the needs of our generation here among our church family. And our teenagers, as you can imagine, are navigating a world that's overrunning them with pressures and demands, confusion, distraction. Francesca mentioned the level of distraction that our teenagers are battling. And as a church family, we have the opportunity to just decide we're not gonna stand on the sidelines. We refuse to stand on the sidelines, and instead we're gonna step up and we're gonna step out with faith, and we're going to participate, and we're going to do something to invest in the next generation of North Central Church's disciples. They are here, these disciples, these next-gen disciples, they're here right now. They're not a future aspiration where we're trying to reach families with teenagers. We have these disciples among us now. We heard from them already. We have already been working to gather them, connect them. We've been working, obviously, with youth workers, helping them with their questions as they search for truth, and they need a growing community investment that sees them and that loves them and that leads them to the truth. And here's how we can make a difference together. One of the things I've noticed as I get older is it's much easier to complain about the next generation than it is to care about the next generation. Some of you are nodding like this. I'm just kidding. But I wonder how many of you have felt like you're more prone to complain about the next generation than to care about the next generation. Every now and then you catch yourself saying something about this particular generation and you go, my grandparents used to say that. My parents would say that. Am I becoming, right? And what I want to ask you to consider is this. I want to ask you to consider among the church family, just as a part of the church family, just deciding, I'm going to do less complaining and more caring. I'm going to amp up the care. I'm going to take action. And we get to invest in them right now. And as you've heard, this plan is to create a dedicated space for them. And it will be a space that's welcoming. I like to think of it this way. There's a couple ways I like to think of it. It's a place where they really do desire to come early and stay late. And I also like to think of it this way, that in essence, we're helping to bring them together so we can bring them to Jesus. We don't mean to replace what's the disciple making that's going on at home. We don't mean to replace that, but to support that and provide a growing community of their peers led by people who are following Jesus. And secondly, we have the opportunity to do something else. This is a bit of a word picture. I hope you can picture this. If we invest in more hospitality, we don't have to invest in more hospitals. So here's what I mean by that. You may have heard this phrase that we're working towards building a guardrail at the edge of the cliff rather than buying ambulances at the bottom of the cliff. Does that make sense? That's our investment. We're going to build a guardrail rather than just continuing to fund ambulances that are trying to rescue and bring healing to broken people that have hit the bottom. What if we invested in a guardrail that helps nourish, protect, lead, and love? If we spend now to build that guardrail at the top of the cliff instead of buying more ambulances at the bottom, that means that we're doing our best not just to treat wounds of a generation that's already in free fall. We build a better, stronger, more adept guardrail at the top. People, space, place, hospitality. More hospitality, fewer ambulances. So we're creating a dedicated student space. Pastor Jonathan mentioned that our hope, expectation, plan is to potentially get ready here at this year, and be great to see it happen, get started by the end of the summer, and to help get our students rooted long before they're drifting away. One of the ways that we would do that, one of the only ways that we could do that is this way: family first giving. You've probably noticed that there's a hurricane of needs in our world that are in our face all the time. Causes and needs, all of them legitimate. Well, many of them very legitimate, just a hurricane of opportunities to give. And one of the thoughts that's been going through my mind is our opportunity to invest in our family first, to grow a vibrant community of students. And while we remain committed to the Great Commission to reach people around the world, we could first take care of our family that God has entrusted to us. Some of you have brought this up to me over the course of time. You thought, we've done a lot of giving away from the family. Understandably. Are we giving enough to our family? Are we giving enough are we investing enough into our own family? And when we give to our church family first, we really do invest in a forever family, the faith family that's going to exist for eternity. So, rise to the occasion. That's our question. Can we do that? Will we do that? And invest ourselves in creating a space where our teenagers encounter Jesus, get loved by people who are following Jesus, and they're ahead in the journey in becoming disciples, and grow them deeply, nourish them, and root them deeply into God's family. So our 2025 project goal, right? We want to raise and collect and invest into this local church project. Our goal would be to get ourselves enough to make a $150,000 investment. It would be deliberate and it would be intentional. And that deliberate, intentional investment is into the souls of our next generation. And it's easy if every gift that we give is given as a step forward to ensure that our students have a place that they think, I wouldn't mind coming early and I wouldn't mind staying late. So I want to ask you to partner with us. I want to ask you to prayerfully consider this mission as a part of our mission. We've done this all along. I got a chance to share with our church leaders that all along, when we first started thinking about what our space could look like so many years ago, we started with, what if we refreshed our landscape? Here was the trouble. At the time, we didn't have any money for landscape. Our landscape had grown over enough that from the road, it looked like North Central Church had closed. And then all along, every step of the way, Pastor Jonathan mentioned a few of them, there wasn't anything to spend, and then there was. There wasn't, and then there was. And it all came through just trying to envision what it would look like in the future. So we give boldly, pray fervently for our students, believe that God will use our generosity to transform lives as He has been doing. And we can build this kingdom here and now. We can build this kingdom here and now locally for them, do it for this eternal family